verbatim on my YouTube channel. There was no stone that we left unturned. And it seemed like only Verb understood from his perspective and his research that he was doing, and I understood inevitably what this was going to lead to. So, and it was because of the insight he has, internal information and insight. I was looking from the outside, and we both could see it. A lot of people, I think, are just in denial about the wrongdoings of URL, and nobody's willing to hold them accountable. But I will speak truth to power the way that Verb did, and that's just what we are, why we're here right now.
See, my thing is this. I like to state this loud and clear. I know everybody's pointing the fingers at specific people based on stature, but my claim in this whole scenario, everybody robbed us all around the board. Everybody robbed niggas all around the board.
Who
It's a
told
business.
us we was brothers though?
Well, everybody. Every
Everybody didn't tell me brother. Only one set of motherfuckers called me brother. Nobody else.
shit. See, your gripe may be with I guess URL, like that's your gripe. Y'all gotta understand. I only have two.
Clearly,
Listen. No, just hear me out. Just hear me out. I only have two URL battles my whole career, so I I'm not really in that position to debate. I just know I made what I made for URL, but I know they made X, Y, Z. But I don't have that many battles over there. My gripe is with them white niggas and knowing what they basically did to me. What URL is doing, or all these other leagues is doing to these other niggas. So my gripe was with a whole other scenario.
they
So my
supposed to, nigga. The
no,
niggas
you're
ain't
right.
supposed to do it, man. What the fuck is
No,
we
you're
talking
right.
about, nigga?
And that's listen. This is what I was getting to. When you wake up to the business model and you understand how the business model works, and you go, damn, okay, they got me. That's what they do. That's what they people do. All right, whatever. But then when you realize that business model was implemented by our own people and then ran on us, it's like, wow, like our own people did that shit too. It's crazy.
Yeah,
But then to tell
URL is
us
the
all
most
this black
pervasive.
man shit and all this black man and the black man did us.
Yeah.
Fuck is y'all, man. I ain't fucking with you, nigga. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rochelle. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, Daylight, the saying, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. So
Yep.
I want to give you guys a perspective on what I see, what you're calling a business model. It's just like any other pimp. The pimp gives the prostitute a few dollars to keep her functional, maybe to get her some drugs, or maybe to get her hair done or something like that. They send her out on the tracks. Meanwhile, the pimp gets all the money and enriches himself while the prostitute is out there struggling. This is no different. This is the type of business model it is. It's not a UFC, it's not a wrestling. It's definitely not close to the recorded music distribution revenue structure because the battlers don't get royalties whatsoever. There are royalties that come out of this, but the structure that was set up by URL. URL found a way to penny pinch the battler into believing that they had no money, including people that were giving up money like Mr. McCoy and all the other athletes and artists and stuff that
Yeah.
are wealthy people that were in Harry and stuff were getting the money. They had people believing that they were broke. They didn't have any money the whole time. They make anywhere from 2 to 5 million a month. A month. They would rather pay taxes
Yeah.
at 45% than to give you guys hundreds of thousands of dollars. I own businesses. So if I have $1 million, I know I'm gonna pay 450,000 in taxes. If I give Daylight 200,000, that's less money in taxes I gotta pay. They would rather give this money to the government or pay, and they
They
have.
rather sign that. That's what I said the other day, Rochelle.
And
They'd
see, but
rather
that
give it to somebody else than give it to us.
They don't
I
want y'all to make money or be rich.
but all right. So going back into that scenario, this was another thing that kind of bothered me on multiple levels. One of the things was knowing that I took shorts for certain battles, and then finding out the nigga that paid for this whole match. So it's like
Hmm.
3,000, 5,000, XYZ, whatever. So that mean they pocketed, like in their own pockets, they pocketed 90% of whatever XYZ sports player put up to see XYZ happen. Finding that shit out, that shit made me want to do something very evil to a lot of niggas in battle rap. And I'm telling y'all now, I'm still gonna do it. I'm just waiting for the right time.
Well, there is something in business called business ethics. And what everybody might believe or think is not the case when it comes to business because businesses are held to a higher standard. The Supreme Court case with Norbes was not just about the valuation of Norbes. It was also going to penalize URL for wrongdoing. So they would make an example out of them. This case, if it would have went to trial, Norbes could have got anywhere from 30 to 50 million. It was in the best interest of URL to settle a long time ago. They were advised to do so. They waited 3 years. But let's talk about the white man, because I want to speak on this, because this is the elephant in the room. You had Pryor and Cashman, which is Attorney Samantero. This is URL's attorney. 3 years of litigation going on to turn around and just fold that quick. 3 years of them billing URL, milking URL with potentially up to $500,000 worth of legal fees alone. Is the amount of money that they could have easily just paid Norbes, and this would have never got to where we are today. Their attorneys are advising them to litigate, billing them 3 whole years, fighting the case, suppressing information, being resistant, argumentative, releasing statements to the public, misleading the public, lying under oath. Your attorneys lied under oath too. Beasley lied in an affidavit, a sworn affidavit, had to amend the affidavit after lying because he got caught. This shows a pattern of unethical behavior. When you get to the Supreme Court, they will make an example out of your ass. URL did not want that Fenwick report to come out. So everybody's talking about the books being open. This is not about the books being open. Nobody would have saw the books. The books are the information that was in discovery that was going from URL to Norb's attorney was confidential attorney eyes only. So whatever was in the books, nobody would have ever saw that in the first place. So that's a wrap. It was the Fenwick report. And that Fenwick report also contained information such as the event production. The event production was funded by Caffeine, not URL. That means that if Caffeine is funding, and this was the white man coming at, okay, we're gonna, this is how much is allocated for the event, the venue, the battlers and stuff. It will also show the profit margin. So if they're paying 25 to 30,000 for the event production, but the event grossed over 200,000, then you had the licensing agreement that Caffeine would buy for the distribution of the event on Caffeine. They would pay an additional fee for that too. So you're looking at millions of dollars because Norbs alone was responsible for about 100 events. I posted the financials for Born Legacy 8 for 2019. Just off the initial sales from Born Legacy 8 was over $100,000. The event itself was about 10 to 15,000. They made at least 85,000 profit off of that Born Legacy 8 event. In addition to that, the sale of the licensing agreement. This was done by URL first. This type of formula is not necessarily a business model to rob people the way they did, because there is an unjust enrichment when the profit margin is so astronomical and different for the paid labor used. Nobody's going to build. So that's like saying you give $1 to a Mexican and he build a $2 million house. Is that right? This is one of those type of scenarios where the
Wait, wait,
battlers,
wait, 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 not, wait, 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 wait. Not to cut you off. How much Foreign Legacy made again?
it made over, and I have the document to prove it to. I can send it to you. Born Legacy 8 in 2019, sales wise, gross at least $100,000. That's on the record from URL. That was
Hey,
what
yo.
URL submitted. URL submitted that to the courts. And you're talking about all hundreds of battles that URL.
All right, wait. Who was on board? All right. Let me go Legacy 8 because I know all them niggas got paid
Hey,
fifteen
hey,
hundred
hey, you
dollars.
know what? You know what? Yeah, look and see who that was. Here's something else too. One time Beasley told me. He said, nobody will beat me at this because this is my life. He created the rules. He created the system we playing. Them industry moves that he created have only been done to us. There's no rappers that have got this abuse. We have to be the most highest generating rappers of all time because look at the profit margin on them. If the record labels knew that this is how they was moving on battle rappers, they would have battle rap. It's a safer investment. If you can invest 10% and have a 90% flip every time, they ain't putting out no music. These niggas created a rule setting that has never been used. It's look, cause look, when I was doing what I was doing on it, I'm like, I've never even heard of no shit like this. The people I had look at it, they've never heard of shit like this. This is some shit that these niggas created to put on battle rappers. Then you keep them trapped. You block their blessings. You stop their deals behind the board because everybody come to you about the rapper. You stop the deals. You keep them in front of you to keep making money. And then you keep paying him nothing. That 30,000 is nothing. 40 is nothing. 50 is nothing. 80 is nothing. That is nothing. You paying them that? That's
It,
nothing.
it hurt. It hurt finding out as we get older, bro. It hurt me.
And
Man,
even
God is going, man, Beasley, you getting herpes, man. You are gonna get herpes, I promise you.
could have go to trial. They went to trial. They'd be in jail. 2017, they got another LLC in New York City and they started paying taxes. That one is active, so they're paying taxes on it. Smack mentioned under oath that, yeah, we weren't dotting all our T's and all our I's and stuff. That's how he said it. In his words, he said, but we started to get legitimized more like 2015, 2016. That's what he was saying. But 2017 was the LLC. So 2009, though, was when they admit the URL existed and was doing battles and people were getting paid and they were running a company. But Smack White wasn't responsible for it, even though Smack White paid some of the expenses. These things that are going on are purely unethical in business. Purely unethical. There is a proven, if you go to court, you can prove some unethical patterns of behavior. That right there alone is what URL could get penalized for by the courts in the millions. So even if they gave the battlers they got 100,000 each, and you had 20 battlers, and each battler got 100,000 on the lawsuit, you still would probably get another 15 to 20 million in just the damages from the behavior because it's proven already. You can even pull up the information from Norbes. Reach out to Norb's attorney. The battlers need to, because the class action is the only way you're going to do this, because they're willing to do whatever to hide information like they did with caffeine because of that Fenwick report. That Fenwick report got stuff in it that nobody wants to see, which is a lot of the different revenues, because your L is got other partnerships and other relationships with people outside of battle rap. They also have other businesses that they have that don't nobody know about either. And they also help finance other businesses of friends and family members too. And that's how they make money. But their revenue is crazy, ridiculous, on top of the money that's coming from that app. They admitted in court that the app, the money that's coming from the urltv.tv app, they when that money comes in, they just split it. They don't put that money back in the company. They don't try to invest in development. They don't have an epicenter or any actual property in the name of URL because they have no they just see it as the only business model. They see it as whatever money we make, we put in our pocket, we enrich ourselves, and that's what we do. They don't have any need to want to do anything for anybody else, and they want to act like they broke. So when these battlers be needing bail money or lawyer fees, or they get into some issues or a car breakdown, or they struggling and they just need to help money, maybe something for Christmas for the kids and stuff, they play broke, but they got millions of dollars. They can easily be like, yo, I'll send you 5 grand. Just like when K-Shine mentioned that they gave him 15,000, no problem. They got it like that. And it just shows right here with the situation.
Then they offered him another 100. They offered him some more money. Like like this is sad, bro. Sad.
Yep.
This is sad because the only reason the part that hurt the most is because we them niggas learned us, man. They learned us. They like we let them in our lives, man. Like they learned us. That's the most dangerous part with these niggas, man. It's the whole time we mean nothing to you. That means you niggas, you can't do a crime around you niggas. You can't do anything around you niggas because y'all will you this is showing that y'all will sacrifice and do anybody crazy.
And they
Being
knew they were
around
going to
y'all
lose.
ain't even. Hey, hey,
That's
hey, look, so look, here's the I see it, TD. So TD posted the Born Legacy. event. Now here's the numbers. You said it cleared over 100. The overhead was 15,000. That plus the licenses. How much do you think the licensing was again? I'm sorry, I was writing it down.
They could have sold the licensing for 250,000 at minimum, if they know that it grossed
Okay.
100,000.
Okay. So let's just say let's undershoot that. And let's say it sold for 150. So that means $15,000 overhead to the rappers, and they cleared 250.
Yep, that's how it looks. That's why they it couldn't come out. They could not let this family. The family report coming out could have been a danger to Smack. He could not stand up on the stage and not worry about being attacked by somebody who been struggling for so long and riding with them and being so loyal and thinking that they really ain't got it like that. Um, to realize
And
that
they
you're
do.
robbed. Yeah.
And what did you say that they said in court? Can you read that part where they said this will damage the relationship? That part, read that part.
All right.
If
So I'll
the
give you a little bit of little context too. Okay. So there were letter and correspondence going back between attorneys because they wanted discovery information and URL was very reluctant. Even though they put stipulations and it was so ordered that the judge said to err on the side of giving up everything because the judge was not used to seeing a company be so resistant on just giving up whatever financial records you have. It was confidential attorney eyes only. They first said that they did not want Norbes to see it. Norbes can verify this too. They said they did not want Norbes to see it because if his eyes got on it, he's not privy to it. They didn't want him to get it because he could relate information back to competitors. Then they said that, then the next argument was that they didn't want the information to get out because they said that it would cause irreparable harm with their clients. Then they mentioned that it could cause, you know, issues permanently, irreparable harm with the relationships with clients, which you can look at battlers, they said sponsors, investors, and they said supporters and fans. They knew that the battle rap community, because we go where the battler go, we don't follow just URL as a brand because there's no reason to. If URL didn't have battlers, they wouldn't exist. URL knows that. URL knew that if they would have wronged some of the fan bases, that the fans would have turned on them too, and they started to because of they seen some of the stuff that they were doing, even where Easy has started. Um, so then they seen all the wrongdoing. So the fans, they knew that would not download the app, would not be paying that 7.99, and that's their bread and butter. The 7.99 or the app money is their disposable income. They use it at will to do what they want because they're not building anything for this company. They don't even have their own buildings to do events in. So it's cost effective to spend the least amount of money to maximize your profits. That's just how they do it. So they pay the least amount of money that they can, and it's pure profit that comes to them. Once that money comes to them, they feel like that money doesn't go any out the door. But what is the sense? And then they spoke about the sponsors and investors. If the sponsors and investors that are giving URL money find out that URL has 10 times more money than they do, what is the purpose of people giving them money if URL got more money than these people have? And these people are taking money out of their home, out of their generational wealth, out of from their children, thinking that they're trying to support the battlers because the majority of why these people are sponsoring is to help the battler, not to help URL. URL just finds a way to do events for free and keep the money. But they were making millions of dollars by doing this. And this has become a way for them to continuously enrich themselves on the backs of the battlers to the point where now the whole battle rap industry is a multi-million-dollar industry. It is because of the battlers and solely because of the battlers. Caffeine wanted to jump in because Caffeine seen the money that they could be making as to why they still in bed with URL because of the amount of money that they make. And Caffeine makes money from their advertisers. So if you got all these people that are investing and giving caffeine money to have their products or services surrounded by battle rap because of all the engagement. And you see the numbers, the people that the eyes that are on this has the is where they equate the value for caffeine, and why buying this licensing agreement for 150,000 isn't bad if you're making 1 million to 2 million per licensing agreement on ad revenue. So you might end up finding out 5 years from now or 10 years from now that ad revenue was about a $1 billion. What's going to happen then? Because that just happened with Black Ink Crew. They just found out that the ad revenue that the VH1 was getting equated to $1 billion, but Black Ink wasn't entitled to none of that. The same way that URL isn't entitled to what caffeine makes. They have the when they buy the licensing agreement, is even mentioned in Daylight's contract. It will be at their disposal to do as they see fit. They can take it and do whatever they want with it. Your name and your likeness too. They can do a lot in that contract. It says that we can take your name and your likeness and do whatever we want. So it's almost like selling your soul.
And just to piggyback off that whole concept, this goes to the whole battle culture. Don't ever ask me to come outside ever again. This is why. Like a lot of people are like, yo, Light, why you not out? This is what I've been trying to tell everybody for the past who knows how many years. But everybody, oh, Daylight's crazy. He does antics. You don't listen to him. All right, cool. So this is what I've been trying to tell y'all. And I told y'all, I got to a business standard to where I understand my worth, growth, and all that stuff. I'm not budging unless I'm getting 99% of whatever my face is involved in. It's just that simple. So and then you got some fans will be like, well, you should make it. No, you don't make nothing. We already been robbed for years.
Mhm.
There's no more split the middle. There is no more 70-20. There is no more 80-20. There is no more 90-20. 100%. That's it.
I think the issue that we, as even just the fans, see is that if it is known that fans will follow the battler, a battler can easily do their own event, small or large scale, and do the same numbers as URL. Is not URL as the brand. They're not the machine that people think that they are. It's just that they have created this hoopla around their name to make people believe that. But the actionable things will show that there are some leagues that are able to sustain themselves. But then again, what you have is you have URL and Caffeine buying the licensing agreements for the leagues, for other leagues, because they know the true value and the leagues don't. Hence the FINRA report not coming out, because then the other leagues will realize the true value in their assets, such as the licensing agreement. So if I buy the licensing agreement for 50,000, but the same kind of battlers, almost the same battlers or more on a card, for that league that you have, I say, okay, I'll give you 50,000, but I gave 150,000 or 250,000 to Caffeine for their licensing agreement. You're going to have people wanting more money. But if they're buying the licensing agreement, people looking at that instant money that's coming up front and not understanding the true value or the residual income or how to market or to position that battle or that card to make for them to make money, because URL ain't telling them how they're able to. Negotiations, asking for more money, not letting Caffeine come to you and dangle a nice wide, number and say, oh, going with it, because you can probably get 2 or 3 times the amount of that if you ask for it. But nobody understands the value of the licensing agreements like URL does, as to why URL is getting a higher value for their licensing agreements than some of the other leagues. But how do you equate or find out what licensing agreements are worth more? But if I have the same person headlining, then I should be getting similar or close to. If you're giving me 75% less than you gave your L, I'm going to have a problem with it too, because I'm going to find out that even though you gave it to me for 50,000, you done made about 2 million in ad revenue.
Okay, and can you tell the people how long you've been into business and your degrees,
All
and
right.
then can you also tell them, have you ever seen anything like this, and how long you been doing it?
All right. So I've been in battle rap for 30 years. That's number one. I owned a studio and everything, and I was an A&R before for 10 years. I have an associate's in criminal justice. I have a bachelor's in technical management. My concentration was criminal justice. Finished both with 3.8 GPA and the Dean's List 3 semesters in a row. I have a master's in business administration. My concentration was marketing. I finished that with a 3.95 GPA with distinctions, straight A's. And I finished my doctorate in business administration. My concentration is marketing, and my dissertation is on the music distribution revenue structure. My job is to find the to look at resources and capabilities and marketing responses to threats such as copyright infringement and unjust enrichment and all that stuff like that that affect the royalties that come out of music for artists, especially independent artists. Because and I also manage Grammy nominated reggae group and other artists over the world. They tour. I've been doing that for over a decade. I'm a hospice administrator. I have 3 businesses: marketing and trucking, courier and transportation. And I came into battle rap because this was where my origins lied at, and I wanted to build a business structure for the battlers and for the leagues to find successful, sustainable ways that artists can survive and that companies can survive in battle rap by researching and putting them in legit business journals as scholarly and peer reviewed, so that our children and our children's children can look at, especially from the hood, be able to look at some of what we do, and you artists do, and say, I can do it. And here are some of the measures and some of the business models that have been successful, so that there is another, because it's a multi-million dollar industry and this hasn't been done before. I wanted to do that and show the success. And I believe wholeheartedly that the battler is the commodity in the machine, and that if a battler forms a structured league, that their fans will support it. It's just about marketing. Marketing is the core of every company. So if you're good at marketing, or Verb would tell you, Verb is a genius when it comes to marketing. So taking some of the things that he do, if people just did these things and kept promoting and shoving it, because marketing is like literally shoving it down your throat. Okay, it's like foie gras. I don't know if you know what foie gras is, but it's when you shove and stuff a duck full of food. All right, that's just how marketing is. You do it to the point where that's all you know and that's all you hear about. It leads you to the water. It can't make you drink, but the battlers will make you drink. If you lead me to the water and you get me to URL and there's no battler there, why am I going to drink it? So I wholeheartedly believed, and I came here because I feel like the battler is the machine. And I came by way of researching Easy the Black Captain because I knew 8 years ago he would be where he at, and that was just a theoretical approach. And I'm theoretical because I have a PhD. That's so I saw that, dang, if I see where he is in 8 years, and theoretically what I'm saying might have some truth to it. So I just need to research. So I've been embedded here, but I started following the Norbes and URL case because I knew what it really was about, as far as in the millions of dollars that URL was making, the money that they were taking away from the battlers, the lies, the way that they have everybody misled to believe that they really are broke, and knowing that they have at least 10 to 15 streams of revenue, not just one, two, three, or four. They got like 10 or 15 different ways that money is coming into this company. And they're just paying a lot in taxes, and they're dividing a lot amongst each other. And the people around them are able to enrich themselves if you're cool with
And
them.
what's the taxes again? Can you tell them their tax is 45%, and they could give that to their fighters, but they write it off? They still give it to the government, correct?
Yep. For every $1 million that a company makes, you have to pay 450 to 480,000 in taxes. So that means that if when they make $1 million, the best bet is to spend all that money or have it out in expenses, instead of them giving the battlers a significant portion of that money. They would rather enrich themselves and put that 550,000 into their bank account and pay the taxes of 450,000. When if they gave some of that 450,000 to the battlers,
They
their
come out
tax
cheaper.
bracket drop. Yeah, it drops.
It drops. Them niggas was up. These niggas so evil. They could just give us the money and save the fucking taxes, They said we'll keep it and we'll pay higher taxes. Man, any nigga that fuck with them, nigga, you call my phone, I damn near will pistol whip you, pussy.
They also
Don't
could
come.
give
This is
gifts.
fucking ridiculous. He'd rather say, I'm not giving them niggas no money. I'd give it to the government and pay more. That's the type of money that they're making to where they can say, fuck the taxes. I ain't giving it to the niggas. I pay on it.
And
When
even
you
with
can come, yo, my God.
and say even because a lot of people have been asking me about this, so I want to address this. Is really vital. They talked about how Tay Rock had 50 battles and they gave him a cake or a trip. They could have worked their promotions and gave him a Maybach, right? And did marketing around it, and they could have wrote it off on their taxes and got that money for that Maybach back.
Oh my God. These niggas are so
Celebrities
hateful.
do
They
it
don't
all the
even want to
time.
give it to us. This is fucking. Hey man, y'all niggas are gonna burn in hell, bro. You are sick to. You are the lowest human I think I've ever fucking met, bro. How can you not? We've been making you millions. You don't want to just say give him 75 this month or give him. You don't want to do that. You'd rather say, nah, I'll let them tax it so these niggas don't get nothing.